Hey folks, welcome to Seawaywhiskywire. Tonight on the bar, we've got the John Sleeman & Sons Rye Whiskey. Stay tuned. Well, hey folks, thanks for coming back after the intro. I'm Tyler, and tonight at the bar we got ourselves an expression from Spring Mills Distillery out of Guelph, Ontario, Canada, with the John Sleeman & Sons Rye Whiskey. Before we get into the overview and the specs on this release here from John Sleeman & Sons, if you have anything from Spring Mills or John Sleeman & Sons, you want to pour yourself a dram and drink along with me, please do so. I encourage it. It makes life a heck of a lot better for you guys on the other end, and enjoy you guys drinking along with me, especially when it's good Canadian craft whiskey. So before we crack into this expression here, I just wanted to give you folks a little bit of background on John Sleeman & Sons. For those of you who aren't too familiar with them, they are located out of Guelph, Ontario, Canada. They are a Canadian craft distillery, and they continue on the family tradition of the Sleeman name in their long engagement in the alcohol industry. A family that's traditionally known as a brewing family, the family revisits its tradition of quality production through distilling, and they operate out of the Spring Mills Distillery. The focus is on small batch, grain to glass spirits that are crafted with traditional copper stills and careful attention to detail in the aging process, and a combination of old world methods and a modern attention to quality. And they do a great job doing that. They've got a slew of things in their range here. We're going to dig into this release here from them. This is their entry level rye whiskey here. And John Sleeman & Son Rye Whiskey comes in with an ABV stamp of 40% ABV, likely chill filtered, likely color added, especially at that 40% level, and I don't think we can debate that. For our maturation process, they use a combination of American and Canadian oak in the blend, and it is a blend of rye whiskey and a blend of corn whiskey to make it out, which is fairly traditional here in Canada. They do not share the portions with us. They're kind of keeping it under wraps, and that's okay with me in my books. With that, let's move into the presentation on the John Sleeman & Sons. I really like this bottle. It's got a lot going on for it. It's got some character. They kind of make this like old-timey cut around label here, which I quite like. There is a good amount of information on here, folks. They do tell you about the rye whiskey used in it, the rye whiskey that's aged in American oak, the rye whiskey that's aged in Canadian oak, and the corn whiskey that's aged in American oak as well. Give you a little bit of tasting notes on the back here too, and they give you, a little bit of information on it here. The whiskey is a special blend that includes rye aged in Canadian oak barrels, handmade by my son. I hope you enjoy it. John Sleeman right there on the packaging, and they give you a nice little picture of Spring Mill Distillery right there on the packaging. Very nice indeed. All right, with that, let's crack the top and get onto the pour here. I'll pop the top on this release here. Beautiful little cork pop there. Pour myself a nice dram. Already getting some decent aromas off it as well. And we know there's probably color added. We'll go in for a close look anyways here. To me, that's a very nice golden color. Not overly dark, which is good. That means to me, no age statement on this, but not being too dark, they're not using too much of that colorant in there, if at all. If I'm incorrect, folks, put it down in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. From what I can tell, though, I would think there's color added to it. Yeah. All right. Nice little swirl there of the glass. Let's get in the nose on the John Sleeman & Sons Rye Whiskey and see what we can get out of this expression from John Sleeman & Sons. So, on the nose. So the first thing that I really want to mention on this is not like a regular, bottom of the, it's on the floor here at 40%, but this is not an alcoholic or bitter note on the nose. It's lively nose, very easy. And by easy, I mean it's not off-putting. Not that it's under complexion or that, it's very welcoming nose. Very reminiscent of a craft distiller. And not of a big house in Canada here where you get those bitter notes, those tired casks, and some pretty tired aromas, and something you throw into your Coca-Cola on the weekend. Not that you couldn't do that with this, but nose is very nice. Good dose of vanilla on the nose, toffee, burnt caramel note on there too. A bit of herbaceous note on there too. Not very dilly, but it does have some grass in there. I'm getting a bit of orange in there too, some zest of orange. Just a touch of cherry. And on the back end, it's just very much more of that vanilla cream, more of that vanilla ice cream component to it there. Yeah, pretty decent nose. Again, 40% ABV, nothing off-putting here, folks. Let's get on the palate. I'll move into that, and we'll see what we can get out of the John Sleeman & Sons Rye Whiskey. Again, out of Guelph, Ontario, Canada, 40% ABV. Cheers to your health, and hopefully you got something good in your glass, folks. Let's get into it. I quite like this whiskey. From an affordable, everyday drinker, we'll get into the value proposition here in a bit. It's a very decent whiskey. On the palate, not overly mouth coating, thinner liquid. Again, at 40%, I'm not really judging it too much on that, but the character it brings is quite nice. I do get a nice little bit of spice right off the get-go from the rye. It's really cinnamon and a little bit of white pepper in there. I get a huge dose of vanilla icing, vanilla frosting, cupcake, whatever. I get my toffee notes in there, my burnt caramel notes, that brown sugar component. Going for one more sip. Vanilla into butterscotch with caramel. I get a touch of apple, a touch of pear. Oranges, like zest of orange, zest of lemon. Then there's a little bit of bitter component to it at the back end there, almost like a light tobacco note. Kind of a bit of earth to it there too. Grassy note, not as much on the nose. It is there. It is not off-putting, but it is there. And that bitter component is kind of like a little bit of an oak spice there, but nothing too egregious. Nothing too tired about the casks they're using here. I don't know what the refill rate is on the casks, but they seem to me like fairly decent casks that they're using here based on the flavor profile and just based on the overall length of it in general. So with that, let's move on to the finish. The finish is going to be it's going to be short. A short saying it's a short finish. I'm just going to be quick about talking about it here. It's a fairly short finish, and it's got that spice. It's got that bit of caramel character to it there. You've got that rye notes, you got that vanilla note, the cherries, the oranges. I would say that it's very much reminiscent of a traditional Canadian rye whiskey. And honestly, I don't know what else you're looking for when you're purchasing this, but it ain't half bad. Easy sipper. I've tried it in old fashioned. Makes a heck of an old fashioned. I have not tried it with Coca-Cola or nothing like that. If that's your game, if that's your jam, you go ahead and do that with it. Once we get to the value proposition, you'll understand why. It's nothing against that at all. It's your whiskey. You do it with what you want it. But I would not be afraid to drink this neat. I would not be afraid to give this to somebody neat. Add a little bit of water to it. You want to throw it on the rocks there and have an ice cube in it. I think it's a great little whiskey, and it is a good representation to me of a Canadian rye whiskey done right. Again, they don't share the portions with us. I would think it's probably more on the corn whiskey side based on the profile I'm getting, but I think it's still reminiscent of a traditional Canadian rye whiskey that we would get back in the old days there. So with that, I want to move into the value proposition because I think this is really where this whiskey shines. Currently right now at LCBO in Ontario, it's on sale, obviously. I'm not going to give you the sale price. Why not? On an everyday, I can get it for $45. Right now, you can get it for $40 in the LCBO if you want to go pick it up now when this video is dropping. But I think at that price point, it's a great one. It's a little more expensive than your run-of-the-mill, big house, bottom of the barrel, 40%er there, your Crown Royals or what have you. But I think there's more character to it. I think it's got a lot more going on for it. And it is, they're a Canadian craft distiller doing some great stuff. This is, again, just their entry level. I would definitely go and recommend you go try some other expressions from them. They got, sherry expressions there. They got their straight, it's like a bourbon kind of thing or whatever. I can't remember the straight whiskey. They've got the Cooper's Rye. They got some really good stuff going on there at John Sleeman and Sons. I encourage you to go try them. If you're looking for an everyday drinker, you're looking for something to mix cocktails with, again, put your Coca-Cola in it or whatever. I think you can't go wrong with this. You're going to get a heck of a lot more flavor than your run-of-the-mill average Canadian rye whiskey, and you're going to get more rye, in my opinion. So yeah, there you have it. That's my review of the John Sleeman and Sons Rye Whiskey from John Sleeman and Sons out of Guelph, Ontario, Canada, operating out of Spring Mill Distillery. Hopefully you enjoyed that, folks. And if you like what we're doing here at Seaway Whiskey Wire, you guys know the drill. Like and subscribe down below. And hey, don't forget to check me out on Instagram at Seaway Whiskey Wire for more content. And if you guys are still hanging around this long in the video, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Love coming out of the basement after a long day's work, cracking in some Canadian craft whiskey here, and getting a little dram here into me. I don't know if you can hear Roxy's in the background. She's checking out me doing the video too, and kind of a little bit of an intrusion there, Rock, but that's okay. Anyways, I'm gonna go wrap up. She probably wants some food and water, so I'll go do that, and I'll finish up my dram. So all the best. Take care, folks, and I'll see you around. Bye for now.